Good day, everyone. Welcome to our class on the foundation of education. Today, we're going to explore an important topic about the historical development of technology education in the Philippines during Spanish colonization. Before smartphones, skyscrapers, and science lab, there were bamboo schools, Spanish friars, and the early sparks of formal education in the island we now call the Philippines. Under the shadow of the cross and the crown, the Spanish colonization of the Philippines brought not just religion, but also a new kind of knowledge that shapes how Filipinos would learn, work, and build for the centuries to come. So join me as we explore how the technology education first took root through the mission schools and manual training classes and the colonial institution that planted the seeds of what we now call technology and vocational education. This is the story of historical development of technology education in the Philippines under Spanish colonization. So in 1521, Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer sailing under the Spanish flag, arrived here in the Philippines. His expedition marked the beginning of over 300 years of Spanish colonization. And by 1565, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi established the first permanent Spanish settlement in Cebu, bringing with him not only the military and political power, but also religion, culture, and a new system of education. Education during the Spanish period was controlled by religious orders, such as the Jesuits, Dominicans, and Franciscans. Schools were established near churches to teach reading, writing, and religion. However, only a few Filipinos, mostly from the elite families, had access to these schools. And aside from the religious and academic institution, the Spaniard introduced early forms of vocational education. Indigenous skills like weaving, agriculture, and tool making were enhanced through basic training in farming, carpentry, blacksmithing, and other trades to support the needs of the colony. A major turning point came in 1863 when the Spanish Crown issued the Educational Decree of 1863. It established a system of free and compulsory public education for both boys and girls across the archipelago. This included the creation of at least one primary school for boys and one for girls in every town, and also the opening of the Escuela Normal in Manila, the first teacher training institution in the country. Although limited, technology-related education expanded during this time. Trade schools were introduced, and some institutions began offering training in mechanics, art, and craft, and also in agriculture. The early forms of what we now call technical vocational education and training, or the TVET. While access to education under Spanish rule was unequal and largely served colonial interest, it planted the seeds of formal and technical education in the Philippines. This early effort would evolve and grow under the later government and into the modern education system we know today. Did you know that the Philippines was the home to the first modern public education system in Asia, way back in 1863, and that is under the Spanish rule? Long before modern classroom and digital learning, the Spanish colonizer introduced formal education, building some of the country's earliest schools, colleges, and even universities, dating back to the late 1500s. But education during that time wasn't just about reading and writing, it was about religion. The Catholic friars and missionaries controlled most schools with one main goal: to convert the Filipinos to Christianity. religious orders played a central role in building the foundation of education in the Philippines, each one establishing schools as part of their missionary efforts. In 1565, the Augustinians opened the very first school in Cebu, marking the beginning of formal school instruction, formal classroom instruction in the country. And then the Franciscans arrived in 1577, continuing the mission by opening schools focused on basic literacy and religious teaching. Soon after, in 1585, the Jesuits came. Known for their academic excellence, they would go on to establish some of the most prominent educational institutions in the country. And by 1587, the Dominicans arrived, contributing further by funding schools and colleges, including what would later become the University of Santo Tomas. Now is the oldest existing university in Asia. Though these schools were largely focused on religious instruction, they laid the groundwork for the development of formal education system in the Philippines, some of which still exist today. While early education during Spanish colonization focused mainly on boys, and Spanish missionaries eventually recognized the importance of educating girls, especially in Christian values, proper manners, and household skills. In fact, the first college for girls in the Philippines was the Colegio de Santa Potenciana. It was established in Manila, providing young women with access to formal education for the first time in our history. This was followed by the founding of the other institutions for girls such as Colegio de Santa Isabel in 1632, Santa Catalina College, Santa Rosa College, and the La Concordia College. These schools were mostly run by nuns and religious sisters, focused on religious instructions, Spanish literacy, and domestic arts like sewing, embroidery, and music. While their curriculum was limited compared to the boys, this institution marked significant steps towards women inclusion in formal education, long before it became a norm. As the Spanish colonization progressed, education in the Philippines expanded beyond primary schools and religious instruction. The Spaniards began to establishing major educational institutions, some of which would become the pillars of the higher education in the country. So now let's take a look at the most prominent schools founded during the Spanish period. As the Spanish colonization progressed, education in the Philippines expanded beyond primary schools and religious instruction. The Spaniards began establishing major educational institutions, some of which would become the pillars of the higher education in the country. So now let's take a look at the most prominent schools founded during the Spanish period. So first, we have the Universidad de San Ignacio in 1590. It was founded by the Jesuits. It was originally named as Colegio de Manila. It was later granted university status and it became Universidad de San Ignacio. Its main purpose was to train priests and missionaries, focusing on the philosophy and theology. It was the first royal and pontifical university in the Philippines, but was later merged and eventually closed when the Jesuits were expelled from the country and in 1768. Next is the Colegio de San Ildefonso in Cebu. in 1595. It was also founded by the Jesuits. Yes. And it was recognized as the first school established in Visayas. Aimed to educate native boys, especially in Christian doctrine, reading, writing, and Spanish language. The college was the precursor of the University of San Carlos, which is still operating today and claims heritage from this institution. It played a key role in spreading education and Catholic faith in the Visayas region. The third one, we have the University de Santo Tomas. In Manila, it was founded by the Dominicans. Originally, it was called Colegio de Nuestra Señora del Santísimo Rosario. It was renamed after Saint Thomas Aquinas. Elevated to university status in 1645 by Pope Innocent the King and King Philip IV of Spain. It was also recognized as the oldest existing university in Asia. It offers a wide curriculum including law, medicine, pharmacy, theology, and liberal arts. Produced notable alumni such as Jose Rizal, Apolinario Mabini, and Marcelo H. del Pilar. And also continues to be one of the top universities here in the Philippines. Next one is we have the Universidad de San Felipe de Austria in Manila. It was established in 1640. It was founded by the Spanish Governor General Sebastian Hurtado de Cabrera. It was known as the first state-sponsored university in the Philippines, unlike the others that is run by religious orders. It aims to provide secular education, but unfortunately, it only operated for a short time due to the lack of support and resources. Despite its brief existence, it marked an important early attempt at secular public education. The fifth one, we have the Colegio de San Jose. It was founded by the Jesuits, served primarily as a seminary for the training of Filipino priests, known for offering advanced instruction in theology, philosophy, and classical language. It became affiliated with the University de San Ignacio before the Jesuits' expulsion. Today, its legacy continues through the San Jose Seminary, now is part of the Ateneo de Manila University. Next one is the Ateneo Municipal de Manila. It was established in 1859. It was founded by the Jesuits upon their return to the Philippines. Originally a municipal secondary school under the Spanish colonial government, later known as the Ateneo de Manila. It offered a liberal arts education, emphasizing science, humanities, and religious studies. It's known for its discipline, rigorous academic standard, and the Jesuits' educational philosophy. Jose Rizal, our national hero, studied here and graduated with honor. Today, it is the Ateneo de Manila University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the country. Next one is we have the Colegio de San Juan de Letran in Manila. It was established in 1620. It was founded by the Dominican Fathers. Originally established to provide free education for orphans and poor boys, eventually became a prominent college for secondary and higher education. It is focused on philosophy, theology, grammar, Latin, and humanities. It is known for producing many important figures in the Philippine history, including President Manuel L. Quezon. It continues to operate today as a leading educational institution. These institutions were not just center of learning, they were symbols of Spanish influence, religious power, and social hierarchy. Yet, many of them evolved and survived the test of time, becoming the cornerstone of the Philippine education that continue to shape the nation's academic and cultural identity. We also have nautical and commercial education. It was established on January 1, 1820. It was located in Manila. It was the first formal maritime school in the Philippines. Established to train pilots, navigators for the growing needs of Spain merchant marine. The course was 4 years long and catered mostly to Filipinos mestizos and those working in trade and shipping. And the last one, we have the Don Juanario Ventura College of Arts and Trades. It was located in Bacolor, Pampanga. It was established in the mid-1800s and known as Don Juanario Ventura State University. It was recognized as the oldest official vocational school in Asia. It began as a small schools offering the trade and industrial arts education to local Filipino youth. Trained students in woodworking, metalworking, mechanics, and basic engineering skills. Its creation marked the Spanish government's limited but important support for vocational training. Though limited in reach, these early institutions of vocational and specialized education laid the foundation for what would later become the country's technical vocational training system. From maritime science to mechanical skills, they helped shape the skilled Filipino workforce, a legacy that continues to sail forward into the future.